观众朋友好，欢迎收看最新一期的子天访谈录 SD Talk Show， 我是子天 Skydo。Welcome to SD Talk Show. Welcome to Southern News Group. Hi, Danny.
Hi, Sky. How are you?
Very good. I'm so glad we had a really good luncheon today for the event.
Yes, we have a great luncheon, and then now it's even more exciting. We have a guest.
Yes, another guest.
A guest. I think a lot of us may know him.
Yeah.
Yes. But and then a lot of people know Stafford, the city of Stafford. But sometimes you may be wondering who are the leaders of Stafford, councilmen, the mayor, and all that. Today we have the privilege to invite the councilman at large of the city of Stafford, Council Member Xavier Herrera. And please.
Thank you very much, Danny, and the honor is all mine of being here and talking with you and Sky here today. Yes, my name is Xavier Herrera. I'm a council member, position number 5. I was elected at large just last year, so really excited. Prior to that, I served on the Stafford Municipal School District School Board for 6 years, and I served as the board vice president and number of regional and statewide positions and within a number of organizations. So. Really am excited and getting acclimated to my new position here. Yes. I don't know how new I can say because I've been there a little over a year.
Yes,
so,
yeah. You're a quick learner.
I am.
You adapt this so well. Yeah.
Well, I had a lot of training. I had a lot of, had a lot of background working for elected officials and whatnot, and worked under 3 mayors of the city of Houston. So, I have a little bit of background.
Yeah. So in a way, it's not really a strange to you.
No.
It's a natural transformation. I mean, you prepare indirectly.
That is
then
correct.
You can step up and take the leadership position.
That is correct. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Besides being elected, I was also appointed. I'm the longest serving chairman for the city of Stafford, or was the longest serving chairman for the city of Stafford's Planning and Zoning Commission. Also now currently serve a number of other boards and commissions, and just joined the Texas Municipal League's organization, so we're doing some stuff there as well.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. A lot of people have heard of Stafford, the city of Stafford.
Yes, sir.
Would you tell us about a physical characteristic of it and anything about Stafford?
Sure. So Stafford, I like to say, is one of our area's best kept secrets. I always joke that if you blink your eyes traveling on Highway 59, you've already passed it.
Yes.
We're a 7-mile stretch of roadway in between Houston, Missouri City, and Sugar Land. We're also the only city to offer 0 property tax.
Yes.
And with the whole hope that former Mayor Leonard Scarcella had derived that is to go ahead, the residents keep that money and go ahead and repurpose it to their property to go ahead and keep the values up and whatnot. So he was really forward thinking in his thoughts. Also, we're the only city to have a municipal school district. It's a breakaway school district. Stafford Municipal School District is a breakaway school district from Fort Bend ISD, Houston ISD, and small portions of Alief ISD. Interestingly enough, it went all the way up to the United States Supreme Court, and we're literally the last breakaway school district in the nation's history.
Yeah.
So
that was a very bold move.
It was a very bold.
And it took a lot of courage from the previous mayor, Scarcella.
It really was. He had.
He's a visionary.
He really was. He had. Bumped heads with the governor. He had bumped heads with 2 of the United States senators at that time, who all openly voiced opposition to that. But it was triggered because there was a disagreement between the mayor and certain council members and Fort Bend ISD, because majority of Stafford at that time fell under the Fort Bend Independent School District's purview. And there was transportation issues, concerns, where the superintendent and the board president at the time said, well, we're going to stop busing students from Stafford to our Fort Bend ISD schools. and obviously the mayor and certain council members didn't care for it. So, at one board meeting, when Mayor Scarcella went ahead and opposed it,
Yes, I remember that.
the board president and the superintendent said, well, if you don't like it, well, then just go ahead and leave.
Yeah.
Well, Mayor Scarcella scratched his head and go, okay, well, we'll do that. They totally neglected the fact that, well, even though we're a 7-mile stretch of roadway,
Right.
there's still several $1 million that come out of Stafford into the pocket of Fort Bend ISD. So when they started realizing pen to paper, wow, we're really going to go ahead and lose out on several $1 million, that's when all the fireworks erupted and the back and forth.
That's another subject.
Yes.
But your city is located in a very unique way. Strategically, I don't judge by the size of your city,
right?
But you are strategically located, like in the heart. You are budded to Houston, Missouri City, Sugar Land, even Meadow. I mean, it's just around. And the fact that we have to go through your land.
You do, you do. The beauty is that Stafford, you've got Highway 59, which is a major artery within our area, our region. You also have Highway 90.
Yes.
That's to the other
major
side.
Intersection,
so whatever it is that you're going to do, you've got to cross through. So when you talk about, transporting goods and services, when you talk about being that good neighbor and providing support services to, say, the city of Missouri City, we're able to go ahead and do that.
Right.
So there's a lot of great things. I don't know if you are aware of this, or your viewing audience is aware of this, but right now we're transforming the old Texas Instrument property, which is right off of Highway 59, and we call that the grid. So you'll look at it and you'll see a number of restaurants that are there. Costco business is there. On the opposite end, we have what's called the Fountains, and that's a shopping strip center that has been there for quite some time. They just recently got bought out by a development firm, and they're going to go ahead and do some things, but keep it the same, retail and as well as restaurants. So when you talk about your viewing audience and we talk about economic development growth there's a lot of opportunity in both of those parcels of property. So I strongly encourage everybody to please inquire and look into it. Obviously, each of your viewing audience members have a different role they play within their scope of business, but I wholeheartedly encourage them to please look into it and get involved.
Yes. We will go more in depth in the economic development. But we also like for the audience to know you on a personal level. Talking about personal level, I think the Sky will do a better job of asking you personal.
Thank you.
Well, Sky's an awesome person here. And so are you, Danny.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you talk about more your background, how to involve politics?
Sure. So I tend to joke and say that I didn't really have a choice in the matter, and I say that my uncle, who was the first Hispanic fire chief, also was one of the first people of color in a mayoral administration. He served under Louis Welch.
What year was that? I mean,
it was quite some time back. I'd be lying to you. I'd say late 60s.
Okay. Sometimes I always ask that question.
No, it was in the late 60s. If my memory recalls, he was number 4 in people of color joining the Houston Fire Department at that time, and
very difficult.
It really was. He and they were really encouraging people of color to go ahead and join, not really honestly believing that they would stay as long as. And my uncle stayed with the Houston Fire Department for 50 years. Oddly enough, that was a feat unto itself. But he served under a number of mayors. He was the first Hispanic fire marshal, and at that time you had to be tested, get in there. That rank is an executive assistant fire chief. So he really taught me a lot, and I learned a lot under former Houston Mayor Bob Lanier, and we had a lot of role models, if you will. And you've been one as well, Danny. I've known you for quite some time, and I've always admired you. And
Thank you.
you were on city council, and I was like, well, Danny can do it. I'm going to go ahead and try and do it myself, because
You see.
Yeah.
his commitment to public service really inspired me. So I really do appreciate you and everybody else for your work.
Yeah, thank you, Councilman. Anything else on the personal? So when did you come to Stafford? I know that your background. Give it a history.
Yeah, so
How
let me
did
go ahead and tell you a little bit
yes.
about me. I was born and raised in the east side of Houston.
Yeah.
So east end of Houston. The neighborhood's called the Second Ward, if you will.
Yes.
But I went and got a job out over in Southwest Houston. Met my girlfriend then,
What did you
wife
study?
at the time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What did you study?
In high school?
Yeah, I mean, in your
General
background.
studies. In college, I attended and went to the University of Houston and studied political science.
Political science. So
That's a pretty strong stretch, right?
So you have thought about politics. Where
I did, but it was low-hanging fruit. Remember, I had mentioned that my uncle had gotten me in that.
Yeah.
A lot of volunteerism was thrust upon me, and I dare say I was 10, 11, and my first campaign was Louis Welch's second go-round.
Yes,
and
yes.
when you look at campaigns,
Yeah.
men,
Yeah.
if we're walking by and we have a push card and we're trying to give it to another person, no thank you. But when you have children or you have pretty ladies,
Yeah.
they're going to go ahead and take that literature and look at it.
Yeah.
So obviously I fell into another category, which was a child.
Yeah.
So they gave me a barbershop campaign. They put a Louis Welch sticker on my chest, gave me some push cards,
cards.
and bribed me with pizza. And as a kid, you got to have some pizza. So
Right.
went off and learned about that. But going back to your question, grew up in Houston's Second Ward. Met my wife, who lived in Stafford at the time. She has a lot of family that hails from Beeville, Texas, but her sister, and a good amount of other family members were in Stafford. And, from there.
And when did you move to Stafford?
I moved to Stafford I dare say about 13, 14 years ago. And it just made sense at the time. There was family already there. We were wanting
So
to go.
you didn't see much of the transformation, pretty much.
Yeah, there was some transformation. I mean, when you look at the city and its growth, there wasn't much growth because they're landlocked, right,
Yes,
as mentioned. But when you look at certain businesses that used to be there, for example, on a certain set of roadway, Kmart used to be there.
Yes,
It's
yes.
no longer
I remember,
there.
yes, I remember.
There's a number of other stores that I can point to that were there, and you just through time you see
Right.
things change just
Right.
in anywhere you go.
Right.
And as a business owner, whatnot, you're going to either get bigger or you're going to go ahead and relocate. So those types of things happen, and
Right.
I've seen a lot of great things and not so great things, right? I mean, we had the certain bus that unfortunately took out the entire economy of our region, our area at times, right? So real estate bubble was one of them.
Yes. Yes.
So but that's a quick snapshot nutshell.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I heard about the Stafford City. It's no tax, so a lot of industrial company
Yes, ma'am.
really love that.
Yes, ma'am. Mayor Scarcella and the City Council, because even though we tend to give a lot of recognition to Mayor Scarcella, it's a team all the way around. It's the mayor, it's the finance director, it is your city council, it's your neighboring cities like Missouri City and Sugar Land, because when you throw depending on your project, you have to have buy-in from everybody. I know that in Missouri City, for example, they're doing some work on Texas Parkway. We've been in live discussions with the city of Missouri City to continue on that vision.
Yes.
So Mayor Scarcella had a forward-thinking vision of zero property tax. He did some discussions, and there was some back and forth, and the city went ahead and agreed, for the betterment of our community, we're going to go ahead and implement zero property tax. that benefits the residents, but it also, when you look at property taxes, and oh my God, Danny, I'm so sorry to say this, even when we do tax businesses, we're one of the cheaper ones in our area. Or at least that is what has been advised to me by the appraisal district. So, and other folks. My apologies.
Well, the facts, the data speak for itself.
Yes, sir, it does.
Very highly diverse. I have a lot of friends and clients. So you have a population of about 27,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, give or take, or a little over 20,000. Obviously we have our residential homes that are there, and when you look at the folks, and as mentioned by a very dear friend of mine who had made the comment about the apartments, they kind of X each other out, right?
Right.
Xavier Herrera moves out, Danny Wynn's going to move in for apartment number 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
So those numbers do change depending on the time, and usually that tends to happen when school's about to let out or school's about to begin.
Right.
So, those tends to be just because people tend to move, whether it's job relocation or personal reasons or otherwise.
Right. A lot of our audience are investors, entrepreneurs, and business owners. So one of the challenges people don't like about dealing with local government is the permitting process.
Right.
So how's your permitting process when people come to apply for permits?
So we have really streamlined the permitting process.
Yes.
I'll say this, unlike the city of Houston, which is just the giant in the room, right? I will give them kudos. They have implemented a permitting processing center just on the outskirts of downtown Houston, close to the Landry's seafood area. And they have a one-stop shop.
Yes.
We kind of have that, but very much scaled down. It's at Stafford City Hall. You go into our permitting office. Preferably, you should call up that number to go ahead and set an appointment. You can go ahead and talk to our city planner or staff, and they'll help you through the permitting process, depending, on your business and what you're wanting to go ahead and do.
Yes.
They'll walk you through it. Really friendly people. And they'll go ahead and work with you to go ahead and get your permits as quickly as possible.
But the mentality, the attitude is helpful and
it's very helpful.
It's important. Yeah.
Keep in mind,
I've seen people come to you, for pre-project development, and you receive them and with an open arms and give them encouragement.
Whether it's, I'll say this. I love business. I love economic development. I welcome anybody and everybody. We're a very diverse community. We want everybody to come in as much as possible as they can, within the parameters that are set with 7 square miles, right? But
you still have land.
We do still have land. We're not like Missouri City or Sugar Land, but we do have some land. I will say this though. Whether it's visiting with me as a council member, I visited with a number of developers and business folks and walked them on over right across the hall there to our permitting office, and they would kind of go into the logistics and of what they're wanting. But just like that, we'll be able to go ahead and service anybody.
I've seen it. I've heard about it. How accessible you are.
Yes.
Yeah. Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have one more question. I just talk about no property tax.
Yes.
So most the income is from the tax for the city. So if we don't have property tax, That's a really good question.
How do you compensate for that?
We do get a good amount of our taxes. So when you shop at our local Walmart, when you shop at a local convenience store, when you have your warehouses that you see out there, and they send their goods and send it out, well, that's taxable, right? And we're able to go ahead and take that money. And again, we're pretty lean in what we do. Our city services is pretty spot on and pretty tight. So we do that as a cost saving measure for our residents. And we're also able to go ahead and and while we do tax some of these certain businesses and whatnot, we look at the bare minimum of what we can tax and what we should tax, because we want those businesses to thrive and be successful. They're there, they get bigger, or they're able to go ahead and provide more services or goods. Our residents, our neighboring communities are able to go ahead and benefit from that.
Yeah.
And we look at reality.
Right.
We're not Houston. We're not going to go ahead and build a hobby center. We're not going to go ahead and build. I really am, in admiration of the city of Sugar Land with the Smart Financial. We're not doing that. It's not feasible. So what we can do is provide a good community.
Yeah.
For area residents, we can go ahead and provide a good climate for our businesses, and we think that our strength, our positive thought emulates out to those particular groups, and they're able to successfully thrive.
Yes. Councilman Herrera, since you have served on City Council,
Yes, sir.
what have been your proudest moment? Your highlight, your accomplishment?
I thank you for that. I really do. City of Stafford, and we go back to looking at city services, and we streamline everything, and everything's pretty tight and thin. COVID has definitely played a role in our economic forecast, and a number of other issues have played. But even with all this, I personally, this year, have successfully, during our last budget workshop, I was able to push for a 2% raise for our employees.
Right. Yeah.
Now, you may say 2% isn't anything, right?
Right.
And I recognize that. When I was on the school board, I pushed for pay raises for our teachers and staff members.
Right.
4 times. And I always said that I wish that we could, go ahead and provide pay raises as much as we can several times over for our teachers, and now especially for our city employees that do a great bang-up job for us on a daily basis. And we are working on that. But just last week, we had a city council meeting where I needed help from my city legal attorney here, but I had wrote down some verbiage, and we were able to go ahead and give our firefighters and police officers a 15% raise. We did that, and that was some discussions. I'll openly admit, I had an open discussion with with another council member that really wasn't too comfortable. Yeah. And but I will say this: I did have a lot of support from a colleague that you may know, Alice Chen, who also sits with me on the Stafford City Council. She definitely was supportive of my initiative, but the way I looked at it, we're penny rich and dollar poor. So we let go of a police officer in the city of Stafford. And council member, I'm sure you can recall this as well during your time with Missouri City. Yeah. A police officer to train and equip a police officer is close to $100,000. For a firefighter, that's close to $65,000 to provide them their bunk gear, to go ahead and get them all trained and suited up and everything they need. We have at least 9 police officers that we have to go ahead and hire. Our firefighters, we're looking at 6 firefighters. Yeah. When you have other agencies that pay way more, like Fort Bend ISD, their police department, I looked at it like this. Well, it's better to go ahead and contain the situation, provide a pay raise, a needed pay raise, to our police and fire. Yeah. And as mentioned to you, I hail from a firefighting family and whatnot, so I have an appreciation of them. I also have an appreciation of our law enforcement. It just made sense to me. So we'll have this officer, right? We'll just say Officer 1. This Officer 1 has been with the city of Stafford for, say, 8 years. And they leave. Now we have a void. Now there's a potential dangerous situation that may occur in case a situation occurs in any of our businesses or residential areas. You know, it's just not safe. But then it's also a cost-effective measure because we have to retrain somebody, repurpose them, get them from somewhere. And that's hoping that we're able to get a police officer or firefighter in time to go ahead and replace him.
I understand. Yes, it's cost and benefit.
Yeah.
Yes. How much more time do we have?
Yes. So by the end of the show, do you have something else want to
Yes.
tell our
Before we end the
audience?
conversation, we got a few minutes left.
Oh,
Councilman.
great,
I just
great.
want to say it this time. So, I mean, is there anything else that from your heart you want the audience to know about you that may not know about you?
Well, I really do appreciate the opportunity, and I want to go ahead and say to the viewing audience that I really do appreciate the opportunity to be here and speak to you about Stafford and speak a little bit about myself. The city of Stafford is an open community where we're very business friendly. We hope that you will consider the city of Stafford, take a look at it, depending on what your business is, see if it's a good fit. Please contact me or any of our city staff, and we'll help you through navigating through the permitting process. And I just want to say thank you again very much for the opportunity to speak with you today. And Sky, thank you very much. And good luck on your trip tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I can testify to this. One of the most friendly council members, accessible, friendly, supportive. I wish you a lot of good luck in your next journey. By the way, very quickly, what's next?
Well, what's next for me is hopefully, some of your viewing audience there is from Stafford. I'm running for re-election next year, so I want to go ahead and open that up. You're the first one that I'm going to go ahead and say that out to. I've done that a little tongue-in-cheek, but it's the first open announcement. Running for re-election next year, so hopefully I can get your support and your vote. But you got to crawl before you walk. So I'm crawling. I'm trying to make sure that I get re-elected.
Yes. You just have watched the interview with Sky, Dong, and Danny Nguyen with council member at large from the city of Stafford, Councilman Xavier Herrera. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for allowing me to be here today.
Thank you. Hopefully see you soon to our show.
Thank you.
Thank you. 这就是今天的子天访登录 SD Talk Show. I see you next week.